Welcome to Wide AF Podcast. You're joined by your host, Steph and Brandon. Today I'm going to be leading this topic of conversation because I didn't do a powerlifting comp on the weekend, but Brandon, you did. And we're also joined by Zac and Mario, who also did the powerlifting competition, which is pretty cool.
You can say hello.
Hello.
Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
This is the first time we've had
four people on the podcast in real life. Yeah, okay. Exactly. So I'm going to ask you guys a few questions today because I'm sure our listeners really want to get an idea of what it was like to do a powerlifting competition and what you learnt, how you went, all those kinds of things. So I've got a bunch of questions for you all. Let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was that as a spectator, I was there watching you guys lifting and it was such an awesome vibe. I know that I really enjoyed watching the deadlifts at the end. So for people who don't know, powerlifting competitions, you've got to do squats, then bench press, and then deadlifts. And you get 3 attempts at each lift, right? So the deadlifts were at the very end, and the vibe in the room as a spectator was just absolutely buzzing. Like, it was so cool to watch everyone just max out and see how heavy they could go. What was it like for you guys as athletes in that kind of environment? Brandon, you can go first.
I never really took much notice to the whole vibe of that. I think I was pretty focused on the comp itself. All I wanted to do was do 270 the whole time, and I just kept telling myself, I want to do 270. I want to do 270 throughout the entire day, regardless of what lift it was. And then by the time it came to deadlifts, I was pretty drained. And I kind of wanted to go home, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I know the experience for Zac and Mario was very different. And Zac was obviously the heaviest lifter of the day, and definitely wasn't.
He lifted the heaviest for the day, not the heaviest lifter.
He didn't
Probably
get
maybe the heaviest lifter.
Yeah, and then so I think, looking out, it was definitely a lot more chilled than probably what it looked like. And with, I think, the curtain behind you, didn't really know what everyone was thinking, but it was pretty relaxed. Like, I can't say that it wasn't like a weightlifting comp. It wasn't like anything I've experienced. It was pretty relaxed and pretty chilled. And yeah, that was how I thought it and how I felt.
Yeah, I think for me, the best thing about the whole day was that everyone was getting around everyone. It wasn't just about like an individual thing. It was like everyone wanted other people to succeed as well. So like, yeah, they were just getting around each other. Like, there was heaps of encouragement and that sort of stuff. So that's what I took out of the day. Like, it was just about everyone, not just about individuals doing well.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, the deadlifts wasn't the best part of the day.
Sorry, Mario.
Yeah, that's
Can you show Steph your leg?
Yeah, we'll do that
Well, they
afterwards.
see, we don't want to gross everyone out.
Okay,
They'll probably
okay.
turn off. As soon as they see it, they'll just turn off. Yeah, unfortunately for me, the deadlifts didn't go as planned, although I felt the most confident for deadlift. Even though I PB'd for my back squat, I thought, deadlift's got this is going to be great, really easy, and it didn't turn out that way. Yeah.
So there's a couple of times I went out into the warm-up area out the back to see how you guys were going and see if you need anything, Brandon especially. And there looked like there was some very interesting things going on out the back there in the warm-up. How did you guys find it out in the warm-up area? Zac?
Well, I found it good. As I said, I had my coach there working with me, and he brought one of his mates to the powerlifter. So their focus was basically just getting me in the right headspace and making sure that I was looked after and I didn't have to think of anything. So I sort of just used that time to just chill out. I wasn't really like focusing on other people, aside from like helping out Mario and Brandon, like looking at what they were doing. But during that time, during my rest time, I just sort of had my headphones in, just listening to music, just sort of chilling out, making sure I had enough water in me, and yeah, so I was pretty chilled out, to be honest, the whole time.
There was lots of M&M cookies. There was lots of junk food and shit and stuff like that, which I didn't expect. And there was heaps of energy drinks, which I kind of expected, but I didn't expect like those kind of snacks, people to be wanting to choose that. I would have thought people would have wanted like something that's a little bit easier to be absorbed.
Yeah.
Then like there was M&M cookies, which stood out to me, and there was a few other like chocolates and stuff, which I wouldn't want chocolates with the belt, wearing that, and like, with that taste in your mouth. You want something that's really bland and easy to be absorbed. That's what I would have thought would have been like the go-to choice for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I was just like mainly just sort of like people watching. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. Like, that's probably my first comp in like 26 years. So
it's a long time.
It's a long time between comps, but it was just interesting, and really it was just, if I look back now, it's just a blur. Like there was so many people doing so many people taking it like full on serious, and then so many people just, what I perceived to see is they were just happy to go with the flow.
That was definitely me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if for those that don't know, this was a novice powerlifting competition, and none of you have actually done any powerlifting competitions before. Brandon, you've done weightlifting before.
Lots.
Zac, you've done bodybuilding, and Mario, you've done kung fu and bodybuilding as well.
Yeah.
So you've all come from very different sports and very different backgrounds. How did you each find it stepping onto the platform in the powerlifting space, competing in a totally different sport? What was that like?
It felt so easy. It felt like really fun and really relaxed. As Zac said it perfectly before, where he was talking about how it was really, everyone was getting around each other and everyone was, it sounds silly to say this, but not often in weightlifting do people actually support you, or does it, everyone kind of looks at you very competitively, and it's almost like a very cunning and cutthroat competition, and it's not something that I'd say is very positive and very, it was a completely different vibe, and all the powerlifting comps I've been to, and I've said this to you in the past, I've always wanted to do one because of, maybe it's just GPC as a federation, or maybe it's just powerlifting because you get that rest between attempts. It's like 10 minutes between attempts, so people kind of almost switch off between lifts. It's very different, and it was a lot more fun, I guess, for me stepping on the platform. Yeah, to answer your question, it was pretty easy. It just made it feel like it was another training day, really.
Yeah, I loved it. Like, as I said, I thought it was really easy getting on the platform. Like, I was just ready to lift. I was all like G'd up. Like, I was ready to go. But like, as you said, from weightlifting, cutthroat, similar background for bodybuilding is, because it's a subjective sport, you're looking at, say someone gets on the stage, you think someone looks better, whereas I think someone looks better. So it's based on visual, whereas this is based on performance. Like, you either lift the weight or you don't, so there's a clear winner. Not that it was about winning for me, but like, it's just, you either do it or you don't. So for me, like, I know I could do those numbers because I've done them in training before. So it was more just about, getting hyped up and stepping on the stage or the platform. It was fun. Like, I loved it. Yeah.
I would have to say, for the people that were there at the Strength Haven, that's where it was held at, it was so warming and embracing that I didn't even I could have sworn we were just training at this gym. Seriously, that's how easy it was, and it was so comfortable, and I didn't feel any pressure at all, whether I'm going to make it, not make it. I just thought, this is just great. It was and everyone was cheering everyone else on, which was which made it easy. You couldn't say it was too nervous, shaking or anything like that.
I think the way Marty had organised it made everyone feel really comfortable, and he gave us heaps of warm-up time, he gave us heaps of notice, so we weren't feeling rushed. It was just take your time, it's your first comp, you wanted to make everyone feel really comfortable, and he had his lifters there making everyone feel really good as well. So it was just really organised, it was really inviting, it was just a really comfortable place to lift. As you said, it was just like another training day.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, and so how did each of you find the training leading up to this competition? Because each of you took on your own program for powerlifting to try and build up to this competition. What was that like?
So I'd never done bench press before, or never done bench press like this, so this has been a pretty interesting comp for me. I started my first session, I couldn't really move my arms after I did 7 kilos for about 5 reps. And then
for bench press?
Yeah, it's awful. And then I built it up on the comp day. I did 125, which was a no lift because I missed the rack calls, and there's a bunch of calls in powerlifting that you have to abide by, and I didn't obviously pay attention to those calls. But bench improved dramatically for me. Squats, I thought they would have improved more than what they did, but boys really liked the squat bar. I found it was a big difference coming from my weightlifting background, where I bounce out of the squats and I use a lot of that momentum and stretch reflex to drive back up. I also changed my squatting stance, and I also changed a lot of how I squat, so that impacted me quite a lot with the weight that I could put on in my squat. But then deadlifts were probably the most fun for me, and something that I hadn't done in a really long time. Years I hadn't done deadlifts, and I hadn't really developed my pulling strength. So I was managed to do a 260 in training, and lots of 250 for twos, and I was really happy with my progress in the pulls. And then obviously on the day, I think I just got a bit tired, and the adrenaline crashes just got the best of me. But it was definitely a great build-up for me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the strength I've built translates to in the future.
For me, my training didn't change heaps. The only thing that sort of changed was getting used to the equipment. I've used straps before just to hold onto the bar for deadlifts. And obviously you can't use straps in comp, so mine was just a grip thing, just going mixed grip, so that was the only thing that changed for me. For squatting, I can't squat on like a normal barbell just because of shoulder mobility, so the squat bar really helped with that. And that was pretty much the only change to training, except I think the biggest thing was that I was training less than what I've usually been training. So I was training 4 days a week, but volume was really low. It was just the intensity was up. And I sort of had just one really big training day, which was a Saturday, and the other 3 days were sort of accessory days. So, and that worked really well for me, and I enjoyed it. I was able to recover really well. So yeah, my training was good. So.
Yeah, for me, my training, I just realised I've been only going about 40% of what I could possibly do. I would always like do it. Everything I ever done was like back squat, bench, and deadlift was always 80 kilos, and I was happy with that.
You were just cruising.
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
It was
I was
reps,
just yeah.
Whether it was 5 reps
or
20
10
reps.
or 10 reps.
Yeah.
I would always do the same weight.
80
Yeah.
kilos.
So the biggest change. So I found bench press really comfortable. That was great. I was really worried about my back squat, the depth, because like you're obviously going from 80 kilos and above, I was really worried about my depth. But the squat bar, I loved it. Like that's the go-to bar to do back squats. I think we only the last 2 months. I think did we have like 3 months or
Pretty much 2 months by the time we signed up, but
okay?
we'd started earlier. You'd started in the new year, in 2021.
Yeah, so
3 months.
I went from the conventional narrow foot stance to the sumo
For
deadlift.
deadlifts.
which worked for me, which was better because in the traditional style narrow feet, anything around 100 kilos, I'll just really struggle. I really feel it in my lower back. I don't know whether that was in my mind or not. When it came to the sumos, it was like, oh, this is it. This is easy. I think I can keep going up and up. So yeah, so my training really changed a lot. I
Were you
just
happy with the numbers you finished on? Did you expect to lift that heavy?
Nah, never never in my wildest dreams. So it probably just makes you realise, like, I don't know what I was doing all this time, but I was just happy. I didn't like the aches after a heavy training day. That night, I would have all the aches and pains. You know, you're not used to it.
That was only initially, but I feel like you were recovering pretty well from the 180s. You're doing 180s multiple, 180 deadlifts multiple times a week.
I probably lifted 180 maybe about 30 times in the lead up to the comps. It was like, it was enough.
Yeah. So now we get into the fun information. What lifts did you guys want to achieve going into this competition, and what lifts did you actually achieve for squat, bench, and dead?
I think I said to myself I would want to do at least a 220 squat.
Yep.
And then I failed the 220. I did a 212 and a half, and then during training I did a 216. But I think, like I said earlier, the changing stance, if I can develop that position, I don't see a problem in getting used to the equipment and training more regularly with the squat bar. I don't really see a problem with doing more than 220. Bench, I was just happy just to be able to do bench and just practice. I think I had in my head that 130 would be, or 140 was probably a little bit too ambitious to achieve in 3 months with no training for bench.
We're talking about kilos for anyone who's listening overseas, not pounds, kilograms. FYI.
It sounds less impressive. So yeah, bench, I was just happy to, just progress with that and learn the technique. And I think if I was to do another program or later in the year do another comp, another powerlifting comp, I'd definitely like to add more to that and focus more on it. And then deadlifts, I don't know what to expect. I was really happy doing a 260 and I achieved that. And then at the comp, I think achieving the 260 the week before the comp was a really bad thing for me because I was already quite relaxed going into the comp because I'd improved so much on my previous PB from 235 to 260. So I think I just needed to peak up a little bit earlier or have a little bit more rest and lead up to the comp, so I actually be mentally ready to adjust my goals because I achieved them a little bit too easily.
Yeah, right. Zach?
So I only had 2 goals going into the comp, which was to do a 750 total and to pull a 300 dead in the comp, and I achieved both of those goals. So with the other weights, it didn't really matter as long as I got a 750 total. So for squat, my opener was 250. That was just to get the nerves out of the way. Like I'd done it in training heaps of times. It was pretty light for me, so that was pretty easy. Then I moved on to 262.5, which again I got pretty comfortably, and then we moved on to 272.5, and my technique just broke down and I just got pinned on it. So that was okay. And then we went to bench. I opened on 172.5. It didn't feel great opening on it. Usually my bench gets better the more sets and reps I do, just my shoulders get warmer and it just feels more comfortable. So we played it pretty conservative and we went to 180 for my second. Again, that felt better. And then it was either go to 190 or stay at 185. If I had gone to 190, I would have had to pull a bigger deadlift, which we didn't know if it was there or not. So we went to 185 to play it comfortably, and that flew up. Like, it felt easy as. Like,
great.
it felt easier than my opener. So we then went to deadlifts. Deadlifts, I opened on a 275, which was easy. And then we originally had planned that I'd go to 290 and then 305 or 310. I said to my coach, I said, if we go 275, what's the difference between 290 and 305? Like, it's 15 kilos, and may as well just go to 302.5. Like, I know I can get it, and then I don't have to do as many reps, and I'm only doing one more rep. But so I went straight to 302.5, and that went up, and then I attempted 312.5, and I got it to my knees and just couldn't lock it. So
if you did you would have done 310 on that day.
I would have done 310 on that day if I had have gone. That was my second attempt, but yeah, it wasn't there.
Awesome.
So
Yeah. So I went in like looking at, for the squat, just do 140. That's what I had planned. And then, we had Josh Gogoy helping us out, also prepping us in the back there. And I told him my lifts, and he goes, yeah, so 140. If you can do your 140, and I've only done that once before, leading up to the comp. He goes, if you do that, we can go up. So I done that, and we went up on the last lift, 145. So that was a PB, which was great. Depth was great. Bench opened up at 100, 105. How does that look? That's good. We'll go to 110. Done 110 before once. Missed it, didn't get it, so that's fine. And like I said, obviously the big discussion is, the failed deadlift. 180, 190, and it was going to be, like, I've done 190 twice before, and then was probably going to be a 200 or a 195, but neither happened.
You attempted, for the people that don't know, you attempted 200 about a week ago before the comp, and you got it just below your knee. So it moved off the floor and you had it there, you held it. Yeah. It's just a matter of blocking it out.
Yeah. Were you disappointed, Mario, on the day that you couldn't finish the deadlifts?
Because it was like I said before, the comp was really good atmosphere. Like, it was so warming that I go, out of all things, it's like literally, like, I don't know, running out of battery or fuel. It's just out of the silliest things.
So what's the stuff that you think you're going to do well on? Like, sometimes
I was so G'd up and so wound up for the back squat that I didn't even think about the deadlifts. I go, I got this. Like, if I do my 180, I was happy with. My 190, I pretty much thought, I'd have no problems doing. And it didn't turn, so it was a little bit guttering, even though I still think I can send in my video submission, which I'd done 2 days before, which was on the Friday. I'd done all my opening lifts, so maybe they might rewrite that for me, Marty.
It seems like something Marty would do, though.
maybe.
So then what's next, guys? Do you reckon you'll do another powerlifting comp, or are you going to switch sports, or are you just going to keep training away? Like, what's the next plan?
So next for me is qualifying for Nationals, which is in July. Nationals is for weightlifting in July. So I'll need to do one comp before then. I need a 289 total, which doesn't sound like much in weightlifting. You lift a lot less compared to big Zac 750 next to me. But so I'll need to start training for that. I'll start training for that next week, and that'll be about a 9-week or a 10-week preparation for that comp. And then after that, I really, really enjoy powerlifting so much that I want to try and build up the two and try and do like a hybrid comp or a hybrid program where I can keep the two in touch, and if I need to do a comp, I can specialise on one or the other. But I really just enjoyed the training of powerlifting, and the movements are really nice for me. I never felt sore throughout the program. It felt so much easier for me on my body than weightlifting was, because I've been used to a high volume weightlifting program, and that was pretty punishing. And so switching to powerlifting, where my accessories are now my main lifts, which is squatting, it felt awesome to do that. So I have to say, there is another powerlifting comp that I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I spoke to my coach. I'm going to do another powerlifting comp at the end of the year. So we'll have 9 months pretty much to work up to that. Yeah, just a small, So, and hopefully when I get to that, I don't know, I'll move, because I squatted in sleeves, I'm going to move to wraps. So hopefully that'll bring my squat up a bit. And I want to, for my first official powerlifting comp, I want to total 800 or over 800, which will be pretty good. But that's going to be my next focus for the next 9 months.
But now I'll say no. I'll say I won't do any more comps, powerlifting comps. I'm happy what we've done. But you never know. We'll see. I've only done one training session this week, just a normal strength and conditioning session. So I really enjoy that sort of type of training, like the CrossFit training. I enjoy that. The powerlifting one, I reckon there was, I got good results from, but in terms of doing a comp, more than likely no.
The final question I had for you guys is, what advice would you say to someone who's thinking about competing, who's maybe never done a powerlifting comp before, or even any powerlifting training before? What would you say to them after your experience?
I started as a joke doing this comp, so it was pretty funny for both of us. I actually thought Zac was never going to do a powerlifting comp, and I always said to him, because we started training together, just mucking around, and I was like, you should do a powerlifting comp. And that's pretty much how I said it. And
Zac's my brother, for those that don't know, by the way.
Zac was didn't seem like he needed a little bit of selling and a little bit of convincing. So sure enough, a novice comp came up, and then, we just jumped straight into it. And he said, I'll do it if you do it. And then, obviously, if that's all I had to do, then that was gonna make us both compete. And I love competing. It's something that I enjoy and something that I always want to do and never want to stop doing, because you always push yourself so much harder at a comp, or you can always I find for myself, I can always go to a new level or attempt a new PB, because you have, that environment where there's quite a lot of adrenaline, and that's something that I love doing, and that's something that, I think these two enjoy as well. So,
I think the biggest advice I would give anyone if they're going to do a powerlifting comp is to get a coach, someone that's done powerlifting comps before, and someone that knows what they're doing, to take all of the stress out of it on the day. I know for me, when we were behind the curtain, warming up and everything, to have my coach there and just tell me exactly what I need to do, it made it so much less stressful. I was literally just focused on myself, not overthinking things. And same as the lead up the training, he was just there telling me exactly what I need to do, so I didn't have to think about anything. So just get a coach, someone that knows what they're doing, that's done it before. It'll make your life a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. For someone that's never done a comp before, should they or should they not compete in powerlifting? If you like the lifts, let me just start by saying, generally you don't know how much you're going to push yourself until you do a comp. Some people might not like to hear this or not, but in CrossFit, the CrossFit Open, I like doing those. It's not a comp as such, but you can really push yourself, and you don't realise how much more you can do until you do those comps. Some of the workouts are just ridiculous, right? Let's admit they are. But then you see when you're in them, and you go, oh, I actually can do better than what I've been doing. So I look at that, and then I look at a powerlifting comp or whatever, and you go, you can actually push yourself a lot more than what you can. So in a way, that's really good. For people that want to do it, yeah, give it a go. Especially if you like those three lifts, which general population, they do. They like deadlifts, they like squats, and they like bench. So if you like them, yeah, go ahead and do it. And if you have the option to get a coach, like Zac said, do that too, because that will help you on the day, 100%.
Yeah. Definitely. Anything else you guys wanted to add or talk about?
That was a pretty awesome comp, and I wouldn't have wanted to do it with anyone else but these three. So it was a pretty awesome series, and obviously we documented parts of it, and we got to talk about it on the podcast and share it with everyone, and something that I hope we can continue to keep doing, and continue to show you guys what we're working on, and yeah, it's just been good to have everyone a part of it. And it's like been a bit of a series, and members have asked me about, other people have asked me about, and who's that big guy?
Mario.
It's Steph's brother. Is that Steph's brother? And I was like, yeah, like.
He doesn't have hair, and I do.
You should see the other brother. Better genetics. It's been good. Like training here, like I've incorporated some of my training here, and having you guys like as support has been awesome. So yeah, it's been a really enjoyable process.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was
Awesome,
good.
guys.
It was good. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us today, or joining me, your host, Steph, on Wide AF. And thanks, guys, for sharing your experience, Brandon, Zac, and Mario. Hopefully this will inspire you guys maybe to get into some powerlifting, or maybe you want to get a coach or try a training program. We do also have online coaching for anyone listening who wants to do online coaching through Accardi Fitness. So you can reach out. You can email us, coach@accardifitness.com. Follow us on our socials. We're all over the internet, so you can see us everywhere.
All on the internet.
Yep, give us some
Instagrams,
likes.
Facebooks.
We love it when you guys give us some likes, so we'd appreciate that. And we'll see you
Not
next
that
week.
shallow. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.